Right, we are going to get started. Hello, everybody. My name is Adam Neveau. I'm the Director of Residence Life. This chat or coffee talk, or as we're describing them, is to go over our move-in process for 2020 and to answer any questions you have, and also to just kind of clarify things if there's anything that needs to be clarified for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation, and after that I'll answer questions, but I'll also keep an eye on it throughout the presentation to see if there's any questions you ask that are relevant to what I'm talking about, and I'll try to answer them in the moment if I can. So just ask those questions. You should have the ability to do that. I'm going to leave that open, and then we'll go from there. If someone could type in the chat just to make sure that you can hear me. Let me know that everything's going okay, and that'd be awesome. Okay, so let's go over our PowerPoint here. So our move-in dates for this fall are Monday the 10th, Thursday the 13th, and Sunday the 16th. On Monday the 10th, football, volleyball, and our summer bridge students are moving in. Those times will actually be assigned because it's only a 4-hour move-in time window, and because of that, and also the necessity for athletics for them to have their players here that morning during that time frame, we are just going to assign those times. If anyone has any issues with that or questions or concerns, we'll be able to work with them. And then Thursday, the 13th, is the big one for new students because those move-in times can be selected. That was sent out just this afternoon. So if you haven't seen that yet, check your email. You're able to pick a time. And if you want to go in and change it after, you can. It's just the sign-up's gonna be open through this Sunday. And then after that, we're just going to assign times on a rolling basis because we can't be dealing with changes every day moving up to move-in. So we'll start assigning them after this Sunday. And then anyone who's a returner or transfer has the same thing emailed to them as well, and that's going to happen on that movement. It will happen on the 16th. One of the things we do have available are early drop-off dates. These are really intended for our high-risk families or students or those with special circumstances. There will be the email you got today for sign-up times has a form link in it for you to request an early drop-off date. We will respond to you if you fill out that form. It's not guaranteeing you'll get an early drop-off date, so I still recommend that you sign up for a move-in time. But if you are interested, please let us know. With those early drop-offs, the students basically what they're going to do is come on one of those 4 dates listed there, the 6th, 7th, 11th, or 12th. They'll come to our office. They'll be able to check into their room, move their stuff in, but then we're going to shut off their access to the building. You're not going to be allowed back into your room until your actual move-in day or what it was supposed to be. So again, these are just available for those who need it. Maybe someone's recovering from something and they need to make sure they're keeping extra careful or whatever it may be. We have these available. So please, if you need that, fill out that form from the email today. Our move-in procedures are going to be different than in the past. So a lot of you, this will be new, so it'll be new to you. Remember, it's new to us as well, so there's going to be some hiccups, but we're going to get through it together. But if anyone has like a family member who's moved in before, it might be a little different. So one thing that's going to happen is when you arrive to campus, you're going to be directed into the Lot A, which is pretty much the very first parking lot you come across on campus. It's where the baseball field and softball field is, just to the south of the complex. Basically, what's going to happen is it's going to be a screening process. The specifics of it are still being worked out, but basically you'll drive through and then they're going to do some questions, quick temperature check, kind of similar to what you get if you went to, for example, I went to the dentist, and same thing they did there. They asked me some questions, they took my temperature, and then they sent me through. There are some things we would do with those who maybe had a high temperature, things like that, but those would be handled in the moment, and the people that are working in that area will talk you through that. We expect that most people, or pretty much everybody, will pass through. but it's a big piece of our process. So you have to go through there first before you go to the halls. You'll be given something that says you cleared the move-in or the screening area. So make sure that you go there first. For moving in, basically after you go through the screening process, you go to your assigned hall. There's a check-in station in each hall. We'll have signs pointing to them. You won't be able to miss them. They're blue signs. They're in pretty high traffic areas outside the hall. So I shouldn't say high traffic, but high visibility areas outside the halls. We're gonna have them outside, most likely rain or shine, unless it is like really, really bad outside. But I can't imagine that it happening for that long of a period of time. And you go to that check-in station 15 minutes prior to your check-in time. Now, if you arrive earlier than that, I'll talk to you about that in a minute, but we don't want you coming up prior to 15 minutes because you're not gonna be able to check in. Your time slot you sign up for will be 1 hour. So remember to keep that in mind when you're packing, because you'll have 1 hour to move in. You'll be able to have 2 helpers with you over the age of 18, and they must be symptom-free, obviously. And masks will be required during the move-in time because there's a lot of people going back and forth and next to each other in the hallways and inside and outside the hall. And we'll have designated up and down stairwells in the residence halls. You'll see them, there's signs, there's arrows. Some will be going up, some will be going down. We try to do the best we could to make the up hallways closest to where you will be unloading your vehicle or loading into the hall. And the down hallway is kind of out of the way a little bit, but some buildings it doesn't work as well, so we did the best we could. But we really want people to be going up the up stairwells and down the down stairwells, just because that's the area where you have the most cross traffic, where you're face to face with people, and with the CDC recommendations and things in place, we want to definitely avoid that as much as possible. So making sure we're taking care of that. And like I said, pack lightly, avoid large items like futons, couches, things like that. Maybe this is your year we don't have that, because those require multiple people to carry them. They take up the whole hallway. You end up with people crowding. We're just trying to avoid that. Now, if you arrive, we recommend you arrive at least an hour early, just to get through that screening process. So say you get through the screening process fast and it's 10:20 and your move-in time is until 11. You can still start moving. What you do is go towards your hall. Sorry, I'm gonna fix that. Sorry about that. You go to your hall, and outside of your residence hall, there will be a lot of people helping. There'll be in Res Life polos. They'll also have other shirts that identify who they are. There's going to be unload areas outside the halls, so you can get things from your car to a spot closer to the building. If you're uncomfortable with that, we have things that we can do where someone can kind of, in a way, watch your stuff for you. If that's something you want to do, it's completely volunteer. You don't have to do that if you want, but there's going to be things for you available, or areas for you available to put your stuff down. We'll have tarps available if it's wet. Just so that when it gets to your time, so say again, it's 10:20, you start moving your stuff up. When it gets to 10:45, you can go to that check-in station, be ready to go right at 11, and your stuff is right by the building, rather than having to walk all the way back to your car every single time during that hour. You'll be right there ready to go. So definitely you won't have nothing to do if you're early. It's not going to be a bad thing to be early. You'll be able to get everything set up, and we'll walk you through it at the building. So that's kind of the process. After you get moved in, you'll let us know you're moved in, so we know that you're no longer going up and down the stairwell through the hallways. And after that, like you are able to obviously stay in your room and your parents can stay there, but we're going to ask you to avoid being in the hallways, avoid areas where you're going to be around other people, again, because we're trying to keep that social distancing in place. And then after that, you'll have things to do starting at, I believe, 5 o'clock with your top cats. And I guess 5 o'clock is kind of the cutoff with parents, where we kind of say goodbye and we kind of move into our activities. And then that's kind of where we hand it over to them. So with that, I can answer any questions you have. I don't see any yet, but that's, pull this here. Sometimes this doesn't load up well. There it is. So if anyone has any questions, I can answer those. I started getting some questions today with share that. I started getting some questions today when we did the sign up, and that sign up for the rooms for the check-in times. Sorry, about various things, but they're very like individual questions where we can answer them very quickly. One of the things that was brought up was my room number is 023. Where is that? Well, that things that begin with 0 are actually in the basement, but if you're not familiar with it, you wouldn't know. So I updated our chart for that. But you should be able to sign up for that time. If you can't, let us know. We'll walk you through it. I have a question here. This is more for after move-in, but are students responsible for cleaning, disinfecting their room regularly, or do you all have a person or supplies to do that? Just wondering if we need to send extra cleaning supplies. It's a good question. Within your room, you're responsible for that area. So definitely bring cleaning supplies from home. We have a ton of procedures that'll be happening in the halls and in public areas. There'll be stairwells, doors, bathrooms, things like that will be cleaned multiple times a day. I think at least 3 times a day. And the RAs are going to help some things at night when they're on rounds. Those are actually going to be, they're going to go over those at future sessions because not all those details have been finalized yet, but there's going to be a lot of cleaning taking place in the public areas, but we won't be cleaning in your room for you. We don't do that. There's very few schools that do. So that's definitely your responsibility, that area, but that's great that you're thinking about that because we definitely want you to be doing that. A couple other things. We are sending out room assignment letters periodically. We sent one out at the beginning of July. We sent another one out this morning. We'll start sending them out a little bit more frequently because as we get closer to the start of the year, more new students will sign up, and we want them to see the room assignment and have information about their roommates. Always keep checking those because most of the information isn't going to change in them. We don't want to be changing that up frequently, but one thing that can change is your roommates. Like say someone withdrew or decided they're not going to come, and then someone new came or got placed in that spot, their information will be on there. That's kind of the most common one. It's rare that we move you to a different room without letting you know. It does happen every once in a while. I had one happen this summer because we had a room that had a maintenance issue, and I didn't know if it would be ready. So I had to move those people somewhere else. We let them know. So that's kind of things that can happen with that. Yeah, so question is, if we forget something once we get there, is a parent able to run to the store and then come back? Yes, you can go too. The biggest thing is we're just trying to, again, there's no way for us to see how many people are in the hall at one time, right? But we want to avoid having as many people in the hallways as possible if we can, because we want to keep that social distancing. So like running to the store and coming back quickly isn't going to be a big deal, but like a very common thing to do in a move-in day in a hallway is everyone has the door open, they're chatting, people are hanging out. That's what we don't want happening. So that's why we have these move-in times to kind of keep the people out of the hallways as much as possible. So you're able to go and get things. Parents can, you can. Your parents, you'd have to be with them when they come back, because we want you always to be escorting your guests, and your parents are your guests. But definitely it's something you can do. Someone asked, where do we find the sign up for move-in times? It was emailed to your Peru email, if you have that, and your personal email that you put on your housing application. It said, I think it asks you email that you check regularly to put in. So if you don't have that, email Residence Life, and we'll send you the link to sign up for the move-in time. It went to the same email your housing assignment went there as well. That's the emails we use. So check those if you haven't seen the sign up for move-in times. Trying to see if there's any other questions. If I missed your question, you might want to type it again, just because they cleared out a few of them, I think. I apologize for that. The system is a little bit wonky. Well, when you arrive, one thing that you will get when you check in, you're going to just get a large envelope that's going to have your key in it. I'll show you. it's going to have an envelope that has your key and your ID in it. So make sure you send us your ID photo if you have not done that yet. There's information on that in the room assignment letter. You're going to have a parking pass if you've signed up for that, so please do that ahead of time. You're going to have a blue sheet that has, it's called a room condition report. It goes over anything that's damaged in the room. So if you find anything new, you can add that to it and then give that back to us so you don't get charged for it at the end of the year. And then you might have other sheets in there too, housing contract, emergency contact form. But the thing with that is you have links to that in your room assignment letter. So if you want less things to do when you get here, do that now. Go in your housing assignment letter, click on those links, fill those out, and do that. And then you won't have all this extra paperwork when you get here. If you do have that paperwork, we're going to give you a large white envelope so you can fill it out in your own time and bring it back to our office. And that way we don't have to sit at a table and sign forms for us when we get there. So you'll be handed all of that. And then you'll also most likely get a bag or something along those lines of things from our welcome week committee or our top cats, including you will get 2 masks for use on campus. All students are going to be provided 2 of these. So if you don't have one, there'll be one here when you get here for you, but not for your helpers. Keep that in mind. Excuse me. So you'll get these masks, but the recommendation is to wash your mask after a use. So you're going to want to have one for every day. So if you have extras, obviously bring them, and that'll be a good time to kind of, if you haven't been wearing masks, to learn or figure out which ones you like and kind of test them out before you get here, because there are mask requirements in our buildings on campus. That information, I believe, is outlined in information that goes out to students or will be going out to students soon. Something else I wanted to mention is that I did send in a large email that, I'm going to pull that up here, an email that goes over a lot of the changes and things that are happening or that are different on campus this year. So if you go to our webpage, this is the screen that pops up, this information and guidance related to the coronavirus. Click on this, click for more information. And in there is the top link right now. It's message to from Residence Life to our Residence Hall students. If you click on that, it's an email that went out on the 14th to everybody. It talks about things to do before returning to campus. It talks about the move-in dates, our move-in process, kind of the things I went over today. And then some changes in the residence hall. So we talk about the masks here. We talk about guests. Guests will be limited in the halls after the move-in period. And the specifics of those policies will be talked about when you arrive. And then it talks about how we're going to do some more cleaning and things like that. So this email has information, but the big thing here is just to continue to check your email, because any updates that happen, we're going to send to you. So I have not seen any questions come in for a while. So if I don't see any more, I can probably kind of wrap this up. So I'll give you another minute here to ask, but if not, we'll wrap it up then. Big thing is, if you have questions about anything, email Residence Life, call us, call our office, we'll help you out. We're here to help you. So let us know and we'll answer those questions as you have them. And that, I haven't seen any questions. So with that, I'll wrap it up. And like I said, an email or call. And we are going to see you in a few weeks. Thanks.